Welcome to the Millennial Diner podcast. That's right, we are here at a diner enjoying some delicious brunch. I'm here with Phil as usual, and today we have Dave Kirsch is here. Very excited to have him here at the diner. I just put my order in. I'm gonna get some oatmeal steel cut oats.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah, and some cinnamon in there, and a dollop of peanut butter.
wow.
Yeah, and of course black coffee. Unless they have some
What?
oat milk. Flo, do they have oat milk today? Of course not. No, they're out of oat milk. So
Well, we've talked about oat milk in the past. It's flaky.
no, that's almond milk this week.
Oh, that was almond milk. I've got my nut milks confused.
Well, oats are not nuts, I guess. So.
Oh, I guess that's true. Yeah, also that's true.
The oat milk does mix a little better, yeah, for sure.
Dave, what are you gonna get today?
Well, you got to go with the classic, and you're at a New York diner. You got to do grilled cheese sandwich. It's going to be on rye bread for me because that's how I go. You got to get the side of the thick cut fries. And at the Baldwin Diner, you used to get a vanilla Coke, and they bring it out. It would be like half vanilla syrup, half Coke, and you'd keep you up for the rest of the night.
That's perfect. Baldwin Diner. Remind me what the nickname of that place was.
Oh, that was the Roach, because it was called the Baldwin Coach Diner. And after every show, that's where you'd end up, because it was across the street from the train station. But even for the local shows, when you were driving, it's like, it's at the Roach.
Gotta go. Was it because there were roaches there? That was always my assumption.
No, and in fact, I think they renovated at some point, or they renovated half of it. It never really got like super dirty or anything like that. I think it's just a good nickname for a diner.
All right, I love it. Well, that's a perfect diner meal. Phil, what are you gonna do? We got some great choices today. What are you gonna
We do. I am. I'm gonna go for some rye toast. I agree. Rye is the way to go. A pat of butter.
Oh.
Two pads of butter.
Wow.
Yeah, and black coffee.
All right, toast and coffee. I'm beginning to notice a trend here, Phil. But okay.
Yeah, why break? Why go away from something? It works. It's not broken. Don't fix it.
That's what you order when you're in the band because you're broke. So
That's also true. Speaking of broke, you know what's funny? You brought up the Baldwin Diner and the Baldwin train station. I once went to a show into New York City, and I parked my car and left it at the Baldwin train station. Went to the show. I don't remember who it was anymore. Realized the show was over, right? Obviously, the band stopped playing. So I headed back to the LA.
Security has to politely to leave.
Like, Bill, it's time to go. I got my way back, and I realized I needed to get my ass in gear because I was going to miss the train. So I got back to the LA, to the station, ran down in time to see the train go away, and I had to wait for 3 hours for the next train to come, right? Because I had to go back out and come back in. So train comes, I get on it, and I get to go back to the Baldwin train station to learn that my car has been broken into and all my shit's been stolen.
oh wow.
I had a police officer waiting for me, and he's like, rolls up, he goes, "Mr. Gorber, waiting for you." I was like, "Fuck, what do I do now?" And he was like, "No, your car got broken into," and I was like, "Oh, it's so sad." So I had to drive back to college with my broken windshield, get that fixed. Yeah, but there was some silver lining to this. Someone found all of my car registration paperwork because the thief stole that as well, and mailed it to me.
That's very nice.
I thought that was a nice thing to do. So
I like a thief with a heart of gold.
yeah, I appreciate it. So I always imagined it was the thief who was like, "Oh, he probably needs this," but it might have been someone else out there. So whomever mailed me back my car information, I appreciate you. Thanks so much.
The thief probably found your Blue Meanie CDs and was so amazed by his world opening up that he learned about the band the Blue Meanies. He wanted to do something nice for you.
Look, Blue Meanies, man, were ahead of the time back then. They were advanced ska punk band. They really were.
They were
Sad
kind
they
of
broke
divisive.
up. What was that?
They were a little divisive. So I remember hanging out with the guys from ASOB, and they were very into the Blue Meanies. And I never could get into it. And they always had like a pretty unique sound, if I remember correctly, and didn't catch with me.
No, Full Throttle. If you ever go for it, I'm gonna do a plug now for Blue Meanies. Blue Meanies Full Throttle, second album they did. I believe it's the second album that they did.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Check it out, man. It's the whole thing bangs. It's just fast ass songs the whole time. It's great.
You have that on vinyl, Phil?
No, actually, I don't. I'll have to go find it. I doubt it's being repressed anytime soon. Oh goodness.
I was watching Flo. They're getting our meals together, getting some more coffee for us. And I was looking at her and I was thinking, maybe you guys feel the same way. But if let's say Flo didn't just work the graveyard shift every night and go right into the morning shift, and let's say she didn't chain smoke all day, all night, and like our hair's all like just thrown together in like that like bun that's kind of like straggler hairs popping out on the sides. What if like I don't know, we just kind of like gave her a day at the spa or something and like went to a hair salon and got her hair down. And what if we got rid of those glasses, which she clearly hasn't cleaned in like 20 years? I mean, there's just like soot on the lenses. We took those glasses off. Am I crazy, or would she look exactly like Rachel Lee Cook circa 2000?
Totally ready for the music video scene. Totally ready.
Exactly, right? Because I think today we are going to be talking about an album that came out in the year 2000, but I really think we need to start in 1999 to set the stage of where we're coming from. Because in 1999, it's really the end of the 90s, and teen comedies. There are some classic teen comedies that came out there in that decade, but one of the most classic came out in '99. It was called She's All That, which I was kind of getting to refer to with our friend Flo. But Rachel Lee Cook is the breakout star of that. Before that, she was known to children around the world or around the U.S. or maybe just New York. I don't know. For those don't do drug PSAs, she was in the greatest one of all time. If you recall, she had the frying pan, right? She had an egg, and she said, "This frying pan is hot." Wait, she got it. Turns on the cook. Oh God, let me back up. She turns on the stove, gets the frying pan hot, shows the egg, and she says, "This is your brain." And then she smashes the egg down on the frying pan and it scrambles. And she said, "This is your brain on drugs." Any questions? Well, that young actress went on to play Lainey Boggs, who became the screen name for many people during that era. There were plenty of Lainey Boggs out there. But yeah, she was the awkward art student who Freddie Prinze Jr. had to turn into a popular girl using his popularity. Made an impression on a lot of people, including the band that we are going to talk about today. So then that's 99. She solidifies herself as like the scene queen when she's in a movie called Josie and the Pussycats in early 2001, which is, I'm happy to say, has become the cult hit it always should have been. And now it is a celebrated, beloved movie that in LA, there are screenings all the time and they're always packed. And people just love it. And I'm so happy because that movie came out and it felt like only 3 of us liked it. And
that movie, that's an amazing movie. I'm glad it's finally getting the recognition it deserves.
Yeah, ahead of its time. And
ahead of its time.
Anyway. And
just the satireness of that movie just gets me. It's just such an aware thing in 2001.
Yeah, you have to see the satire in it first. And then as soon as you see that, you're like, this movie's fantastic from start to finish.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Alan Cumming and Parker Posey should get Oscars for life for their roles in that film.
They're so good. They're so good.
Can they do that? Can they give Oscars for life for a movie that came out over 20 years ago?
That'd just be a Lifetime Achievement Award, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but specifically for that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So that comes out, and then around the same time, and I couldn't remember correctly, but I guess Josie and the Pussycats came out first, but then the band New Found Glory released a music video a few months later, and somehow they got Rachel Lee Cook to be in this video. Do you remember what song the video is for?
Yeah, it's for Dress to Kill. And I'm kind of guessing it was probably filmed right around the same time Josie and the Pussycats was.
It must have been, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I would have to think.
Well, she was already kind of like in that vibe. And like I rewatched the video because I hadn't watched it in years. And it's like one of those like very early 2000s pop punk videos where like they're just in like a garage and there's like posters of all the bands of the scene everywhere, like really like advertising to the viewer, like, this is a scene, and if you like us, you should look at these posters and listen to Glassjaw. And yes, that's Blink-182 right there. And yes, that's I'm wearing a Midtown t-shirt, and that's a Midtown poster. Like, it's so much, and it's like so nostalgic to look at that and be like, that's like literally what my room looked like.
Yeah.
I know.
But yeah, the videos like that, and then so it's the band playing, and they're doing all the fun like zooms and like all that stuff that they were doing at the time, those digital zooms that had music videos. And then there's a storyline, and I'm watching it now, and I'm like, and it must have been the same feeling I had then, but it's basically this like emo looking dude, teen dude, and his beautiful neighbor Rachel Lee Cook, who rolls around the grass with her dog, and she's just so lovely, and he's like watching her, and it's like a little like, I'm like, this is not aging well at all. This is very uncomfortable. But like and then we find that he has like photos of her that he's been taking, and I'm like, oh wow, this video is not doing what it's meant to do, because you're supposed to be like, I guess we're trying to show that he's in love with her from afar, but like, right? But that's a little creepy. But anyway, then like a bro shows up in his like convertible and picks her up, and it's like, oh no, she's dating the wrong guy. Oh, which I feel like is the heart of every New Found Glory song, is like in this part right here. And then she drives off, and then he's bummed, and then we get the big twist at the end. The big twist where he like goes and he just throws a rock at her window, and like he wants to talk to her, but he doesn't. And then we push into her bedroom, and we find out she has photos of him, and she's been obsessed with him this whole time. And anyway, that was what music videos were doing in 2001.
So
They're creepy stalking each other, and that's mid-90s romance for you.
There it is. Yeah. But yeah,
the story had like almost like an 80s movie vibe too, I thought, which I kind of appreciated. That's like in their style too.
oh,
It
for
is.
sure. Yeah.
It felt like it feels like a 4-minute John Hughes movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the him outside the window is always to say anything. I mean, he didn't have the boombox, but he broke her window with a rock, which is aggressive. Anyway, Rachel Lee Cook, very important to this time period and for this band and the aesthetic of the band, which I think is very much now. And I also watched the video for the single, the big one. Why am I blanking the name? Quick.
Hit or miss.
Hit or miss. There it is. Man, that was a hit or miss. That was a miss on my part. Yeah, hit or miss, which again, very much like captured the energy exactly of how they were then. Because the three of us saw them a lot at that era, because I remember them being like the hardest working pop punk band in the business at the time. Like they just toured, and like they would be playing, like it felt like every couple months they were back.
Yeah.
And they and those videos I really think captured that energy that was so infectious. Like it was like, that's what you went to a New Found Glory show for. You were gonna jump up and down. You were just gonna like, there's not much else to it. It's like they really captured, I think, which was part of their goal, was they were punk bands, they were in hardcore bands. I mean, one guy was like literally this singer of Shai Hulud, shout out to Dune. Yeah, like a screaming hardcore band, and then wanted to do pop punk. So like they had this like background in this hardcore, and like that kind of really came out in the shows, where I feel like it was just about jumping up and down and like bumping into each other and just singing along, very much like a hardcore show without being hardcore. I believe they called it easycore, was their term they like to go with.
I like easycore. Easycore is good.
That's a good phrase. I don't think I ever heard that.
I had a hoodie that said easycore.
Can I ask you guys, were you guys listening to a lot of hardcore before New Found Glory?
I always dabbled in hardcore. Like I never like was like fully like I can only listen to so much hardcore.
Yeah, same.
But I appreciate it, and I've always enjoyed it, and I definitely like will stick my toe in, but like it was never like I'm a hardcore kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I dabbled more than Jeff, because I was a big fan of Indecision as a band, like American Nightmare as a band.
Love American Nightmare.
Yeah, they're angriest fucker ever. But yeah, there's definitely times where I would hit bands like that, like Most Precious Blood. I actually, from Indecision, went on to them. And when I went to college, early parts of college, I actually befriended a few. Like there was, what was the name of the band? Center of Zero was a band in Long Island that they were awesome hardcore band, but they didn't make it, but that's all right. So yeah, what about you? Did
No,
you go
not
more?
really.
No.
So I would say in general, I didn't like angry music at all before that, you know? And somehow that, Newfound Glory is almost like a watershed band for me. They kind of introduced me to that scene and it, really took off. I really got into it. And, I just think that's an interesting transition. But they've ended up being a very transitional band for me in that way. I think the only real hardcore band I ever heard before them was Visions of Disorder. And that's because they were pretty local, like very
Yeah.
local to Baldwin. But then after Newfound Glory, a lot of, I got into it a whole lot more. You kind of take for granted that they really were basically like a Southern California punk rock band with some East Coast hardcore in there, and ended up making a big difference in their sound, though.
Yeah, and I think that's the energy that
Yeah.
you got from there, and that was where it was coming from. Because I mean, it's interesting because pop punk, as again going back to this time period, this album we're talking about is Newfound Glory's self-titled album. It came out in the fall of 2000. It's their major label debut. They were on Drive Thru Records, which had a deal with MCA, so it became their first big one. But what's important to think about pop punk at the time, this is I think Enema of the State in 1999 by Blink-182 like completely became the shape of what pop punk to come, basically, right? It really in that moment forward, that was a Refused reference, everybody. Shape of punk to come. Anyway, for the Refused the listeners out there. Yeah, I think when Enema of the State comes out, it's a more pop. It's not Green Day had a little bit more grit. I felt like they were still obviously very catchy pop songs, but they were coming out of that like post grunge era. There was still kind of like a texture to it, but like Enema of the State was like polished. It is like a pop album, but it's punk, right? So it's like, and they're singing about relationships, and it's like, and then you look at all the bands that come out in the 2000s after that who hit it big, from Newfound Glory to your Fall Out Boys and everything. Like it all feels like it came from Enema of the State. So I really look at this album as like, and I'm sure MCA and Drive Thru thought of it too, that this was like the album that's going to come out before the next Blink album, but it's going to be a connective piece. Like they did that with Phoenix TX, right, for Blink, and then this one I feel like was like, at least to my point of view, they felt like Blink-182 is on TRL. Blink-182 is like this huge band, but Newfound Glory was like our band, and we were seeing them like, and in my head I was like, oh, they're going to be like as big as Blink-182. Like, but we're at the ground floor, and that's what it kind of felt like, and it always felt like that going to those shows, because I think the band kind of created that atmosphere that like they were friends with you, like literally, like they were so friendly to us. I remember us going to a festival and one of the guitar player like saying hi to us because he recognized us from shows, and I'm just like, yeah. It was Chad, right? Yeah. He's yeah, and I'm like, they just kind of created that, which again goes back to the hardcore roots, where it's like a community. And I think that, as you were saying, they kind of brought it all together. So they have this big polished Blink-182 style pop punk sound, and they have the DIY hardcore ethos that got them there. The hard work, the touring, and it all comes together into this like this generational defining kind of pop punk sound that they are kind of the forebearers of.
Yeah. I think one thing great about them is that they made themselves available all the time. So I was very into like the Yahoo group message boards, and that had its own little chat room, and Ian and Cyrus would be in there just talking to fans. I was able to get like a demo tape from them. Ian just said, just send me a self-addressed stamped envelope, and I'll send you a copy of this song Certain that we never put on any album. And I was like, oh my God. So that's in my parents' house somewhere. But then even after the shows, you would run into particularly Jordan and Chad.
Yeah.
I remember being around all the time. And they would just come and hang out with you, and they just come and talk, and it was fantastic.
Well, yeah, and that was like part of it too. The other thing they did, and I felt like this was the shows that we were going to in particular. I remember Deer Park. In Deer Park, there was like I guess it was like a place for like Sweet 16s and Bob Mitzvahs. I don't know, but like a rundown one. Like I don't even know what you call that kind of place. But like they had I remember there being a show there. It was Newfound Glory, and like I remember like we're all like trying to get in, crowd in. We're all like cramped together, and we get in there. And the best part about these shows were because of Newfound Glory's history with hardcore and their history of the age of growing up in the post Green Day world and being into ska and like early tours, Less Than Jake. The shows that were being put together at that time seemed to be not just pop punk bands. Like you would get Newfound Glory, you'd get Midtown, but you would also get Movie Life, or you would get a harder band than that. You would get Dashboard Confessional starting out, like just him and the guitar. Like it always felt like you got emo, punk, and hardcore all mixed together, and sometimes ska as well. ASOB shows there. But but like, yeah, it was like I love that time period for that reason, because you go to a show and it wasn't like I'm just here to see the main band. You're actually there because not only just to see the other bands who are up and coming and touring, or like older bands in the scene that you've never got to see before, but it was a mix. It was not just one type of music.
Yeah. That place is called the Long Island Zoo. I remember it well. And that Newfound Glory tour with Midtown and Movie Life and Dashboard was like life-changing.
Oh yeah.
In my mind, though, that show, because that was the first time I saw Newfound Glory, but it was Midtown who like killed that show. I walked away from that show like, oh my God, Midtown is the greatest band ever.
Yeah, it really was a special time. I think I also remember that whole early 2000s, Long Island, New York City, even Jersey. I know we would drive out to South Amboy Perp sometimes to go to Club Chrome. It was just like, I remember thinking like, oh wow, this is really a moment in like popular music. Like we're in like the middle of this. Right. And like, and here we are decades later, and like it's very much true. Like it became this kind of like, aside from the last decade of emo nights and things like that, there was an article in the New York Times this week when we're recording this podcast, which may not be when you're listening to it, but you can go back and look at it, about this emo prom in Brooklyn. And it's like all like people in their early 20s and stuff. Like they're all getting decked out, dressed in like emo outfits, and go to this emo prom and listen to emo music. And like, to think that like so many people are still listening to the same stuff, but like it's so much older, while we were getting it like fresh, like as it was happening, we were there and getting like, we were the first people to kind of like experience it. And I love that the longevity that it's had and how it's continued to affect people to this day.
That's right. I was thinking about, Jeff. Do you remember we drove 3 hours to Rochester, New York to go see them play at that tiny club in like the middle of nowhere?
Was that the Valentine's Club in Albany, or was that the one that was like outside Troy?
Outside Troy.
Yes. Oh yeah, because Piebald opened in the Strider.
Right. Yeah. Do you remember? Do you remember what happened with me with that? I asked for the day off from work, and they wouldn't give it to me, so I quit.
Well, you did the right thing.
I did the right thing. I was like, all right, I quit. It was a summer job. Like, I can't give a shit. I'm out. See you later. Yeah. I remember that concert vividly because it was so hot.
Yeah.
Because there was like no air movement inside that place. I remember just being drenched in what I imagine is my own sweat, probably others too. Now looking back,
sorry about that.
Yeah, post-COVID world, I'm like, gross now. I mean, what are you gonna do? Dave, let me ask you a question. Would Newfound Glory be on your Mount Rushmore of bands?
So it's hard for me to do a Mount Rushmore, and I think if I was going to do one over the totality of everything, they probably would not be. But in that era, they have to be, just because of how many other bands it led me to. You know?
Who else would be on that? Either then or now. I'll take either.
So I'm really looking at that range. Like, it's weird because Newfound Glory is kind of the start of it. So most of the bands that end up on my Rushmore are kind of after it. And, you know, I kind of went back and forth on who belongs on this list. But I think if I had to choose the big four, you'd also have Alkaline Trio on there because of all the bands I've stayed closest to them the longest. Like, it's weird to pick bands that you're going to put on a Mount Rushmore and you actually don't even know every song they put out. But these guys have had 20 plus year careers at this point. It does get a little hard to keep up. And Alkaline Trio I've stayed the closest to. and I probably still listen to an Alkaline Trio album every single week. Like, hands down, they keep going. Taking Back Sunday, they got a little bit harder, and they were, local. And those first two Taking Back Sunday albums were just incredible.
Correct.
I mean, and they were from around the corner. They were just dudes from the next town over. I had friends that were friends with them. Like, they were just they were just there, and they were incredible. And then the last pick was a little bit harder. But I had to say Brand New, because just 4 incredible albums. I love every single song. Problematic, I know, but just not a miss in the whole catalog, more or less.
Yeah. No, it's and a band who evolved every album, like
so hard
2-3 steps. It's like,
it's so hard to do and keep the fans with you and do it, and they managed to pull it off. It seems wrong not to mention Saves the Day, because the first 4 Saves the Day albums were absolutely incredible, and I could listen to them all the time. But Newfound Glory was the more, the one that led me to all those other bands, so it has to be them over Saves the Day.
So this is as early 2000s as it gets. So Alkaline 3, Take It Back Sunday, Brand New, and FG. A lot of acronyms I went with there. That's good. I like it.
Intentionally of that time.
Yeah.
If I had to do everything, it would basically just be Green Day, because without Green Day, there's nothing.
Right.
100%. All right. Well, Jeff, I want to air a grievance.
A grievance.
A grievance on this album. Not the album itself. I want to talk about the squares on the cover of the album. I have a grievance to air.
I am so happy we're talking about this album cover.
This is so great. I love this cover.
Yeah.
Love the 9 square. It's clever. There's so many things on it. First, I'm going to talk about what I don't like on it, and then we're going to talk about what we do like on it. How about that? I take issue with the Stormtrooper.
Oh, I knew you were going to have a problem with this.
I have issue with the Stormtrooper. Do you know why I have an issue with the Stormtrooper?
There are so many possibilities. I actually like the square with the Stormtrooper, so I'm very curious to see what your grievance is, because I have an upvote for it.
I don't like that it's not a vintage figure.
That's the reason why I like it. Yeah. Go on.
I look at it. I'm like, okay, the roller skates. I think I had a pair just like that. The record player itself. My sister had one like that. The Atari joystick. I definitely had that. Everything in that top row is old from when we were kids. And then I get the Stormtrooper that's literally came out. You know why I know this? Because I worked as we mentioned this on the remember we talked about a job I quit to go see Newfound Glory? It's a comic book store where I used to sell these action figures. And I thought that's why I know exactly what action figure that was. That is from like 2000-ish, 99, probably was, and no, actually I take that back.
97.
Was it 97? All right,
Yeah.
I was close. Okay. I slowly worked my way back. That's the one thing I don't like about this cover.
First of all, I don't know if there's anything more emo or early 2000s than a suburban kid quitting his comic book store job to go see a punk show.
It's perfect.
Yeah. I couldn't like that. I'm glad that happened. So Phil, my argument why I like it has to do with the Britney Spears ticket, because I took it as a snapshot. And I also think there's also a bunch of colorful condoms. So I didn't take it as like a nostalgia thing. I took it as a snapshot of what was like a big deal to them right here, right now, which is why I like that it's the new Star Wars version rather than the early. It's a 90s Star Wars action figure, not an 80s Star Wars action figure.
Right.
And this album to me is the 90s kid. This is what, especially in the early 90s kid, this is what a teenage life would, this would be in the mind of a lot of teenagers.
Right.
Yeah.
What's happening here. So I think that's why I really like the Stormtrooper choice.
Oh, everything. I love the roller skates, the bright red, the record player, the Atari. Do you think is that a pop brownie? Or
I
just
would think so.
is it? Yeah, do we think it's a pop brownie?
I don't.
Yeah.
Why do you put a brownie on the cover if it's not?
That's because it's representative of snacks, of having snacks. I mean, this is like a hot Friday night, right? Video games, snacks.
I would think in 2000, my naive self probably thought that was just after school snacks. And looking at it now, I'm like, oh, that's an illicit brownie.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure. What was the straight edge component to the Newfound Glory band? I feel like there were some straight edge people, right? They were coming in the
Chad
hardcore scene.
was. Chad was at the time.
Yeah. All right. So for the straight edge kids, just brownies.
Just brownies.
Yeah. It's all inclusive. That's a good idea. If it was a beer, it would be like, oh, there's no mistaking that.
Right.
Well, this
Now it can just be simple.
well, this is an inclusive show, so that makes sense. We're gonna keep that going. I like that. Yeah. All
But
right,
yeah,
Jeff.
I do think an iconic cover. Another thing to mention about this is this was I believe the first time they were known as Newfound Glory, right?
Right.
I believe so too.
Yeah, because Newfound Glory, Article A, was for their EP, Nothing Gold Can Stay in '99, and then of course their first of many EPs from the Screen to Your Stereo, which they would take movie songs and do pop punk versions of them. That was also a Newfound Glory. So this was the major label, and I'm sure the conversation was, what if you drop the A, like the Facebook, drop the what if you drop the A, because kids are going to want to buy your album and they're not going to know to look in the A section or the N section.
Yeah, I believe that's accurate too. I think
was that why they did it? Yeah. How do we feel about that as a band name? Newfound Glory versus Newfound Glory.
It's the rule of three. Newfound Glory. That's why I like AFI. It's a fire inside. They made it a part of it. It's rule of three. So I'm thinking it's a smart move.
Smart move.
Smart move.
Yeah. I know. I like the pretentiousness of a Newfound Glory, but
of the Facebook.
But I guess they're not the pretentious band, so I guess it makes more sense for them just to be NFG.
Yeah, I'd agree.
All right, should we start talking about the songs in this album?
Let's go for it.
I have a question for everybody. When was the last time you really listened to this album, like
straight through?
Straight through, yeah, and actually really paid attention.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, for me, it was just the past couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So yeah, because I listened to it to prep for the show. The songs I often hear individual.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I'll do a playlist on Google or Apple or whatever. But as a straight album prior to prepping for this, it's been a little while. It has admittedly been a little while.
I had been for me, and in my head, this was my favorite Newfound Glory album. And what I actually learned revisiting this is actually Sticks and Stones' favorite Newfound Glory album. and I used to think that they were like the two, those are the two, and this was the better one because it was I don't know, a little earlier and a little less produced, I guess. But actually, I kind of was surprised that it was harder for me to listen to this album than I expected. I feel like it starts off really strong with the first few songs.
Yeah.
And then it kind of blurs for me. It's a lot of the middle is really I was like, what song am I even listening to right now? And I don't remember having that feeling in the past. I remember
the B-side is not as good as the A-side. How about we do it like that? It reminds me of Nirvana's Nevermind, where I don't like the A-side. I like the B-side. B-side's better. I think it actually would apply here. I think the A-side is the better side.
Wait, on the Nirvana one, what is the B-side, the one with the song from the Batman?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the close of the album, if I recall correctly.
Yes. Yeah. That sounds really good.
Depressing as fuck to end an album with that. My goodness.
I'm gonna lose all my scene cred when I say this. I don't really think I ever paid attention to that song until the Batman trailer, and then I was like, "Oh, this song rules."
It's a good song. The B side of Nirvana's Nevermind. Hot take. Anybody listening to me? It's the better side. Sorry, just this
Send
Which
your
song is it
angry
from?
letters.
Which song is it from the Batman?
Oh,
something in the way.
something in the way. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But
Oh,
like
yeah.
the Batman, the whole Batman thesis, the screenwriter and director, like that song was kind of his inspiration for the whole thing, which is
Wow.
kind of crazy. Like, so
That is kind of crazy.
yeah. But yeah, for you angry Nirvana fans about Phil's hot take about Nevermind, please send all your angry letters to New Hampshire.
I feel like every episode, I ends up with me getting more letters.
Oh yeah, you got all these hot takes.
Hot takes, man. I went for it. I'm just gonna go for it. But that doesn't mean I'm better off dead, right? No, it does not mean that. So let's talk about Better Off Dead. Great movie. I'm gonna go there really quick. Better Off Dead is a fantastic movie. If you haven't seen it, you should see it. But I want to talk more about the lyrics of Better Off Dead. Jeff, what do you feel about this as an opener?
I think this is a fantastic opener because I think this, again, being a major label album for them, you have to think that they're about to be exposed to a lot of new fans just because they're going to be, on the shelf at Sam Goody or what have you.
Tower Records.
Nobody Beats the Wiz. Is that still a thing?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Nobody Beats the Wiz. Oh, man. Oh, now we're getting old. Circuit City. That'd work.
Again, and I think a lot of this album is, I think we'll find that lyrically, and some other episodes we've done, we had some songwriters who are poets and deep thinkers. I don't necessarily think that's what you come for Newfound Glory for. I think you come for a feeling and energy, and the lyrics are not really what's important in the song. It's just kind of like something to hang the energy on, basically. But this song, I think the way it drives, it opens up so.
It's fast. It's a
right?
fast song, right? It's a great opener because every time you would see Newfound Glory, it's like they don't quit. We've talked kind of about the entire time, but as a band, how often they play, but more that their tenacity and how fast they play. It is every song is fast. It's very fast, very up tempo. So opening up with this, I love it because it's an immediate vibe.
Yeah, it is. And like he comes out with the first few lines, and then I can't not listen. There's a bunch of songs on this album I cannot not listen to it when he says, "Just because you can't hear what you say." The way he says that, I am just like, you just start, your whole body starts moving. That's what this song does so well for me. It's just like immediately you're like, oh, I just want to be jumping up and down. I just want to be like doing that full body headbang thing, and like this song just pulls that out of you.
Yeah, and those are actually what I wrote in my notes, that this is the perfect opening track, and then it has that live feel to it where you can picture them running out on stage, jumping around to that guitar intro, and then Jordan steps up to the mic and he's jumping also and goes right into the lyrics. But speaking of the lyrics, I actually, reading through, I think there's an interesting perspective in this song where they kind of speak from the girl's perspective a couple times.
Yeah.
And almost switches back and forth a little bit. And that's pretty rare in a Newfound Glory song.
Yeah.
I think that's interesting about this song, that puts it aside from all the others,
Yeah, they're not just objectifying a woman.
Only a little.
No, I agree. I when listening to this again, I was thinking about that, like, oh, whose point of view is this part of the song from? And it is, so many of their songs are breakup songs, right?
Yeah.
Breakup or longing or whatever, a lot of breakup stuff, right? And this one is a breakup song, but we're getting the two sides of the conversation. And it's funny to me because it's almost like, I think Taking Back Sunday will take this to the next level when they come out 2 years later, about having the conversations back and forth with literally two singers. But this is kind of like the first time I think, I heard a song like this in this scene that was having a conversation with itself.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because it's taken an odd look, I think, not an odd look, maybe an honest look at a relationship, because at one point they talk about, are you happy with your role? Like, I feel like that doesn't sound like a good relationship if we have roles that we play, because it even goes on that says something about being forgotten. Yeah, the next line, forgotten of your own face, like that. Have you lost yourself in this role, in this relationship? Is it, oh, just all we are now, just actors in a relationship? Like, that's why I feel that this is definitely, if it's not the end, the actual end of the relationship where they broke up, we're heading toward that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and like on that, it's like, is the my thought of it too is the other person having the conversation, is this a friend telling her what she needs to hear about what she needs to do in this relationship? Like, you know what I mean? It's like an advice song that she's getting, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
Very much
Yeah,
so.
that's interesting. I like that. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that now. Because like if you listen to your words, like your own advice, maybe, or what you always tell him, that he might like you more, or might like
Right.
what you say. Yeah.
She's like, yeah, like, so the step back, and I'm sure we've all known people who've been in relationships like this, where you lose yourself to this other person, you forget who you are. And the thing is, the relationship will be stronger if you are yourself, right? And that's kind of like what the narrator is trying to tell this character what she needs to do. And I love the burn and start again, like
Yeah.
that
Mhm.
really, that's all you need, right? Like that's the feeling, right? And that's the advice.
And a great lyric for a punk rock song.
Yeah.
Do you think we should listen to this song?
Yeah, I think we better listen to this song because I want to get the listeners at home jumping up and down with us as they listen to Better Off Dead. So here you go. Better Off Dead from Newfound Glory's 2000 self-titled album, the first track. And that was Better Off Dead. That was, I wonder if they purposely named it after the movie title.
I don't know. It's a
Well,
movie.
I mean, the thing is, the next track is also a movie title.
Also, yeah.
It's also a movie title. That's correct.
Now, I don't
but
know,
there's-
again, if they were big Brian De Palma fans, but, you know,
Who's not?
that's true.
Yeah, who's not a big Brian De Palma fan?
Brian De Palma, who started the Mission Impossible franchise, let's not forget. He directed the first Mission Impossible.
Right. It wiped out the entire team immediately. Just so
Immediately,
immediately, just so we can focus on Tom Cruise for the rest of the movie.
And then here we are 25 years later, and he's still doing it. We're still focused on Tom Cruise.
That's a very good point.
No, his team eventually solidified over the course of the movies.
Yeah, they did. I've always found that was a very interesting thing to do out of the gate. Just, you know what, 10 minutes in, we're gonna wipe everybody out. I mean, it's kind of like the Transformers movie from '86.
Oh yeah,
we're gonna wipe everybody out.
Orson Welles' final performance.
That is true. That is true.
I didn't know. That's crazy.
Yeah, that was Orson Welles' final performance. I remember he was bullshit about it too, because he was like, he couldn't understand how he was just basically a talking robot.
Well, he's not a robot. He's
Oh,
a Transformer.
He's a
Sentient.
yeah, he's a sentient thing, a Decepticon. The big, actually, no, he didn't have an alliance. He was his own thing. Well, good for Unicron. Anyway,
Well, at least Unicron was always dressed to kill, you know.
dressed to kill, always dressed to kill.
Yeah, what do you guys think of?
What do you think about this one?
So for me, this song is like the intro to this is what Newfound Glory is now. This is what we sound like. We're cleaner. We're cleaner sounding. We're we sing better. We play clearer. This is us now, and you're gonna love it because this is what we do.
I agree. Yeah, I think it's definitely a different tone than obviously leaving off Better Off Dead. It's definitely, it's still driving. Don't get me wrong. You'll never not want to jump up and down to a Newfound Glory song for the most part. But it's definitely like, yeah, this, and I think actually like lyrically, this one they kind of push themselves a little bit more.
Right.
There's actually like, there's a feeling in this song of like, longing of someone who's left somebody, and like this is the most poetic I think that they get, but it was really effective.
Lyrically, this is probably what they're really ahead of themselves here, and I think they kind of keep to this. This is like a template they use for later songs, because I like what they do with comparison. They're big on doing some comparisons here and there, because the first verse, it's the narrator's object of affection, we'll go with that. I don't know what it could be, but it could be whatever you want, is dressed to kill. And then later on, the narrator themselves is dressed to kill. I always found that interesting. No, and like it's also a thing about I think a song about acknowledging the limitations of being on tour,
Yeah.
right? Because they can't. The only reason why they're not together is he's on tour all the time.
Yeah, and that's the part of the longing that comes out of that, because it's like the narrator is just literally doing, their job, and that means they can't be with this person, and that's, I mean, it's such a, I think it's especially if you're not in a band, I imagine it's something maybe you don't think about as much, about what that life is actually like. Or anybody in like entertainment that like travels, like even sports teams, like you're always away, so you might have this person, but you can't be with them because of your work, and I think we forget that's part of the experience of being a musician and always being on tour.
It's a cheer up. That's what my friends all say.
Yep.
And I actually do tend to like a song like that, like, also like Apple Shampoo by Blink-182 is kind of like that, where, it's like right people, wrong time. I always gravitate to a song like that. I always think those end up pretty good.
I agree.
But I think good.
No, just going back to the cheer up, my friends all say, I feel like that was really solidifying the flag of this is an emo song.
Yeah.
Because like, again, I don't think New Found Glory ever called themselves an emo band. I don't think that was ever in their descriptors of them. They were like a pop punk band or easycore band, pop punk band, but like very much important to this 2000s emo scene, because they were really kind of, this is what emo music really was. It was pop punk that was about heartache, right? Like that kind of was like what signified if it was an emo song or not.
Right. That's the connective tissue is heartache.
Yeah.
And that's what really, I mean, that's where emo ends up going later on after this, is that it's just, if you felt heartache, why not, it's part of it. It's an emotion that is identifiable by all, because we've all been there. This is making a choice about something you love. Making a choice between two things you actually love. I do think the narrator does love the other person. But it's all this is what I love to do. If I'm going to be on tour, this is part of what that, like you said, what this life is like. What I find funny though is like, but that's how he makes himself feel better. And I don't really think he does feel better. I think he's still kind of sad at the end of it. It's just cheer up, cheer up, sad kid. You'll be all right.
Yeah, because he doesn't really reach a conclusion, right? It's more of like, this is just how it is.
Yeah. The cheer up, my friends all say in the outro is like, it's not exactly said beaming with happiness,
Yeah.
They're like, they don't understand, and I'm not ready for that yet.
And he's making excuses, or no, sort of. He's making excuses for the person, because he's like, you're better alone anyways. Trust me. Or is he talking about himself? Now I'm wondering.
It could be that. It could be someone else. Maybe he's talking to different people about it, and then that person is saying, "You're better off alone anyway. Like, you're on tour. Like, there's no point to like have a relationship at home because you're never there. So it's better to be alone while you're on tour." I don't know.
Reminds me of that. Good.
Or excuses that he gave her for breaking up, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's good too. Yeah.
That reminds me of that Dashboard song. Was it TV Night was on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Every time he's on tour, he comes back. She's gone. Yeah, that just popped in my head for this one.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
This is what happens. You start talking about songs, you're like, oh, that makes me think of this other one. And then now I'm like, I gotta go listen to that after this. That's what I'll be doing.
Well, this is why it was the early 2000s shows were so great, because you could see Dashboard and New Found Glory together at your local catering hall. It's fine.
Jeff, do you remember seeing the oddest pairing ever with New Found Glory? It was New Found Glory and Cold.
I do. I think that was like an MTV show, right? Or something like that.
It was an MTV show. And I just remember we rolled in, and luckily New Found Glory went first. I do remember that. And we rolled in. Wait, did they go first? Did we have to suffer through all of Cold?
I have no memory. Maybe I do. I feel like I saw Cold, because all I can think about is how big his pants were, his legs, his wide leg pants.
Oh man.
I do think that we did
I think we did see them,
We
but
did see them, yeah.
I think we were interested because apparently "Stupid Girl," the classic Cold track that we all think about, was written by Rivers Cuomo apparently, or like co-written by Rivers Cuomo.
Oh, Jesus.
God.
Getting
Oh,
an
man.
education.
I don't know if that's true. It's just something I remember. Maybe it was a rumor. I don't know. You know how those things are.
I'm just so confused now. I'm remembering the Jenko pants. Yeah, they like these big.
I just remember like really
black.
big.
Yeah, they were
like wide.
like MC Hammer pants. I mean, that's how parachute pants were. But that was such an odd. I just remember going, this is the oddest pair I've ever get put together. So you could like this heavy, industrially kind of rock band with Cold, I think, and then it's like out comes Jordan, bouncing around, just over the place. Oh, what a strange show that
Well,
was.
I sincerely hope Cold is doing well these days. I know they're not getting on the nostalgia playlist very often, so I hope sincerely me,
Yeah. I was gonna. I sincerely, I don't think I've thought about Cold until we had a prep for the show, and I had to think about that. Sincerely, me. You know what's funny? Both of you have mentioned something. That it sounds like the narrators of a lot of these are giving themselves advice, and I think it's funny though that this next one is called "Sincerely Me." This is is now it's was it epistolary when it's a written form, like a letter. So yes, this is mostly
like Dracula.
like Dracula, right? Yeah. It's I believe that's epistolary. I believe that's what it's called. Our producer and my wife Megan, who's a better writer than I am, will be mad at me if I got that wrong. By the way, just saying. So now I have to find out if I'm right. But let's talk about Sincerely Me.
I mean, this song is all about that bass line in the beginning. I think about like I mean I hear that bass line and like I'm ready to go. Like let's open up that pit,
Yeah, this album starts and does not stop, huh? It keeps going for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, this is always a fun one live, and I think the recording of it captures it very well. Like that was like a reaction I had to this song. I'm like, oh yeah, this song rocks.
Go ahead, Dave.
Okay, so this song for me, kind of goes into something that Newfound Glory does, that really brought me into them, and it touches on it a little bit, and that's like the idea of distance. So I met my wife when I was 17. We did a long distance relationship for 4 years while she was in Philadelphia and I was still on Long Island. And they have so many songs about distance and keeping things going through that. And, you have to pick and choose some of the lyrics to make it work, because most of their songs, it doesn't end up successfully. And obviously for me, it did end up successful. But this is one of those songs that has so many little pieces where it's like, the person I love is far away. It would be really great to talk to them more often or see them more often. And that was something that Newfound Glory has always done really well. So this is a good one for me. This is a big hit.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I think what you just said is really interesting too, about how like kind of pick and choose the lyrics. Like this is very much like that Away Message band.
Yeah.
Newfound Glory. Like, you could, they were, whether they realize it or not, like the songs, you could be like, well, I'm going to just take this line and put it in my Away Message, and this line's perfect for this. And then people are like, hey, Jeff, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, it's just a Newfound Glory song. It's fine.
It's just a good track. It's just listening to it.
Yeah. Jam.
I remember, don't confuse this song with the Dear Evan Hansen song of the same name, by the way. If you do a Google search, that's what you're going to find more than this song, as I found out. What I find funny though is I take a slightly different take to this song than you guys. It's I love your ideas. It's a little different than what I was thinking, because what I was thinking is this girl. I'm going to say it's a girl. That's probably poor of me to do so, but I'll do it. Doesn't realize that this relationship is ending. That's how I took it. Right? It's that, yeah, I'd like to see you more often and all that, but like he even said, like, you're blind to the fact that my heart has stopped beating. Like, I'm not in this relationship anymore, and you don't even see it.
Yeah, that's the part I have to take out. Overall, I
Yeah,
have to
all
say
right.
that I agree with the song,
Okay.
with that interpretation. But those are the pieces that I have to remove to, really find it relatable and meaningful to me.
I, no, I'm glad you did. I love that you did. I think that's great.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, I got a bit of a different here, different vibe. It's just, what I love about it is the cheekiness and the sarcasm of it. Like, dear, I don't even remember your name anymore. Like that's how we've gone. That's how far we've gone. Is dear, your name here.
Yeah.
Right. What do you think, Jeff?
Well, I mean, on that, I mean, is this just a form letter that they have that the narrator fills out for whenever they're breaking up with somebody? Like, this is just, it's run its course, and it's time to get rid of darling, and also don't call people darling. I feel like is that's probably like they're probably saying darling to really like get under the skin of the person and be like, so you don't want to be with me? I call you darling.
Yeah. Yeah, dear. Yeah, this is the this is the standardized letterhead they have set up for dear. Enter name here.
Yeah, we have dated for 2 months, and now my heart it no longer beats for you. I'm as good as dead, so that's why you're seeing less of me. Bye.
Actually, I think the your name here probably implies that he's done this multiple times too.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's what it's like. It's like this narrator has typed up this letter and has it ready to go, and it probably laminated it too. So they just hand it off to their partner as they're leaving them.
Well, sometimes you just maybe pull a lyric or two and it means something to you.
No, but that's
the song is
no, but that's the beautiful thing about a song like these songs. Like that might be what the song's about, and but again, it's kind of like a mean-spirited song, but you don't feel mean-spirited when you're jumping up and down to it, it's
no, which is a general vibe I think I got from looking back at these lyrics. I'm like, I don't know. I don't remember bouncing this much, but yeah, dear, your name here. That's a real, sing along kind of thing. I remember he would open the thing, he would do the first part, everybody would just start doing the rest of it. But we didn't really think about the lyrics, did we?
No, we're just there for vibes.
Just there for vibes.
That's a hot take. Lyrics are just there for vibes.
If you don't like my hot take, please send your angry letters to Phil in New Hampshire.
I'll take them all. That's all right. I'm the complaint department. No problems. No. I think that's generally been my role, Jeff. I'll sure. I'll be the complaint department. Go ahead.
I think you like getting in arguments with naysayers, so it'll be good for you.
I did. Yeah, that's a true statement. I'm trying my best to not be that way anymore, because it's very tiring to fight every battle. It's I'm trying to teach my kids not to fight every battle, because it's fucking exhausting, to be completely honest.
Well, you don't want to do the same thing over and over again, right? You don't want to have the same talks with people over and over again. Often you don't want to re-record a song from a previous album and put it on your new major label, and it is an interesting place to come through here.
That is an interesting thing. So obviously we're talking about hit or miss.
Yes.
And
their first hit,
which didn't miss. It's great. They use it in great usage in was it American Pie 2? Is it? They use it as a transition between two scenes, like the big. Oh yeah, it was. I think it was the part where the big sad part happened. We're like, oh no, if I'm gonna get the girl, and the other guy's like, you're gonna get the girl, and then in play is the riff, and you're like, oh, I like where this is going, and then
end of Act 2 into the beginning of Act 3,
right?
We're brought back with the song,
and it cuts, and if I remember right, they're all walking toward the camera now. All four of the male leads are walking toward the camera. It's funny how much you connect this band with movies. Maybe it's because they like movies so much. They put out three.
I think it's three. They have three of them now.
Yeah, three of them.
Three screen to stereos.
So why do we think they re-recorded what was already a good version on the new album?
Well, I don't know if anybody read Dan Ozzi's book Sellout here. I don't know. Anyway,
yep.
His chapter on Jawbreaker was really fascinating, and I might be conflating his chapter with the Bandsplain podcast episode on Jawbreaker, where I got the history of that as well.
Right.
But they were requested by the label to put a re-recorded version of Boxcar, their very pop punk hooky song from their 24 Hour Revenge Theory album on
Yeah.
the Dear You major label, and they refused. They were like, "We did that song, we're done."
Mm.
And it's hard to not look at that and wonder what could have been if that very catchy pop punk song got the major label. What would Jawbreaker's trajectory have been had
Right.
that song?
Hmm.
But then, because there was precedent for this, because Kerplunk, Green Day, Welcome to
Yeah.
Paradise was probably the best song on Kerplunk, and they
Right.
recorded that for Dookie, and it became a single on Dookie and probably helped. I mean, they had so many great singles on Dookie, but like still, they had this like a tried and true single already that they just
Right.
re-recorded. So like it's definitely something that happens a lot in the pop punk world, I feel like.
Well, Bad Religion did it. 21st Century Digital Boy was on 2 albums.
Right. So it's not unheard of. I mean, I guess did Blink do that? I guess Buddha doesn't really count because it was like a demo, right? Yeah, so maybe not that. But yeah, this is not unheard of, and it's an interesting move. I mean, I like the new version of Hit or Miss better personally. Like I actually prefer
polished.
this. It sounds very polished, and I listen to the old one and it kind of like it feels hollow. It just doesn't feel like it's all there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think it was smart to do it for them. I think the production they got on it made the song way better. I guess Dashboard did this too, right? With hands down, he had hands down
That's
acoustic
correct.
on an EP.
He did it with a number of songs. He did it with a lot.
Yeah. So I think that artists should be allowed to tinker and redo things, and why not? Yeah.
Why not?
I would imagine it has something to do with the expectation of the album to reach a new audience, and this is their closing song. They're not going to stop playing it. Get all these new fans hearing this song as well, because it's a hit. I mean, this is a bona fide hit. This song.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Total it's the complete banger. It's because it's singable. It's got all you want. It straight pop tune. Styling, the way it's set up, and then it's
got a riff. It's got the riff.
Got a great riff. It has a sing-along portions to it. Like it's just there's so much. Such a good song.
And then the bridge. The bridge is so heavy.
Yeah. This bridge again, it takes like, everything in my power to not do the full body like like it's like when you hear Bohemian Rhapsody, you just have to headbang.
Yeah.
Right. This bridge, I just have to start kind of like in place, just like people at home can't see me, but yeah, I'm doing the full body headbang with your whole torso.
It's either that or you're like bouncing 17 feet, in the air just to get along with that, because that bridge drops and it's like it's like I'm doing it. So folks at home, I started headbanging. you can't not when you hear this. You just can't. It's I guess I think I like this song better for this album than I do for the for Nothing Gold Can Stay. I think this song fits better on this album than it does the other one. Because it's not even the best song on the other one. I mean, there's was it 5s and 6s? Yeah. I always forget the numbers, but yes, that's the better song on that album. But
it never snows in Florida.
Yeah,
never snows in Florida.
That's number one all time New Found Glory for me.
But I think this song fits thematically better here on this album, and I'm glad it got polished because it's a single. It's a real single. It's what put them on the map. Now I think songs on Sticks and Stones are really what solidified them as a band, but this is what really got them noticed mainstream wise.
I agree. Yeah, but I think the sing along factor is the big reason. I mean, like I've had so many chances. That little like what do you call it when you're singing two different things at once, like a round? I don't know.
In the round.
And like again, something I think Taking Back Sunday will go and run with.
Yes.
But you could definitely see like they must have heard this song or like, oh, that's something we can do.
Yeah, the kind of call and answer of it. Yeah. Anytime you can reference Thriller, though, I'm all in. I love that record.
Do you want to get in a little more discussion on this, or do we want to just play it and then talk about it?
I think we could play it and talk about it. That works.
All right, we're gonna play Hit or Miss because it's probably the most important New Found Glory song of their entire career, of the lads from Coral Springs, Florida. Had a hit with Hit or Miss. Here we go. And we're back. So that was Hit or Miss. And that song is it's just a perfect pop punk song.
Incredible.
So I was just thinking how when I first heard this song, I was still in my CD life, transferring into my digital life, and didn't understand the wonderfulness of records and having a record. So like the needle on my record player has been wearing thin. I remember thinking like back in the day, I'm like, oh, why is he even using a record player? And now my record player needle is always wearing thin because that's all I do is listen to records.
I have to replace mine now that I think about it. I did like you. I was always like, why are we listening to records? Like I stopped doing that once the CDs came. I actually remember the first CD I ever bought. Do you remember yours? What was the first CD you ever bought?
For me, it was Blues Traveler 4.
Blues Traveler 4. Nice.
Yeah, that because I was late to getting CDs. I would use cassettes, just forever. And then finally got CDs. It was that and the Batman Forever soundtrack on the same day.
Oh yeah. One of the greatest soundtracks of all time.
Really good.
Kiss from a Rose on that
Sure
one?
is.
Yeah, sure is.
And the U2, it's like the best U2 song is on that.
Yeah.
Hold me.
Right.
Oh, hold me, kill me, kiss me, thrill me, whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah. What about you, Jeff? What was the first CD you bought?
It's hard to remember because my dad was so into CDs. Like he was like he jumped on the CD bandwagon immediately and like
early. Yeah.
So so he always had CDs. I want to say, with revisionist history in mind, I'm pretty sure I had Warrant Cherry Pie on CD and I shouldn't have, but I don't even count that because I don't know what headspace I was, why I even ended up with that CD. Like, it doesn't make any sense. I was never into that kind of music. I don't know why I had that CD. But for me, it was before I discovered Columbia House.
Oh my gosh.
Before that, when I always go back to one day I went to the store. It must have been, I was a kid. I was like 94, I want to say, summer 94. And I got Dookie and Super Unknown by Soundgarden the same day.
Okay, so I reap the benefits of that.
Yeah. So but to me, that was I definitely had other CDs, but nothing mattered to me until I bought Dookie. Basically, that was like, yeah.
I came to your cassette house with a cassette tape, and I'll never forget. One side of the tape had Dookie, the other side had Super Unknown, and really at the time, there was probably no song in the world I liked more than Black Hole Sun. And let me tell you that Soundgarden side never got played. I listened to that Green Day nonstop.
Oh yeah. There was no competition. Like, it was just like that was the moment of like, am I gonna like get into grunge, I guess, or am I gonna get into whatever this is? This pop,
yeah, like ended with an exclamation point. That was it.
Yeah. So
I think mine was. I think I bought Dookie was the first CD I bought, but it's funny. I bought it as a replacement to the cassette because I had worn the cassette down to nothingness. That I actually ended up buying the CD because I was like, I play this so much. Why would I should get the CD? Even though it was like $5 more, because you can't wear down a CD like you can a cassette. That was literally my rationale for buying a CD.
No, I think it's smart. Do you have Dookie on vinyl?
I do not. I'm actually going to wait because knowing next year will be 30 years, I'm going to wait to go grab that. I did, however, almost take a shot at one I saw relatively recently at a local store. It was the first press from Germany.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was pretty neat, but he wanted 3 bones for it. And I was, I'm not a player there.
Was it called Shizer?
No, it should have been. No, but it was pretty fun though to pick up and look at it, and because sure enough, there's Ernie on the back, which you cannot get nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
Love that that's a real thing. You can't get that Ernie picture in the back anymore. Always thought it was awesome that it was there. Anyway. Anyway, talk about. Let's see. We even like the covers. The covers, back covers. That's what I like about this show.
Anyway, I'm sure Newfound Glory is very happy we spent all this time talking about Green Day.
Well, if it wasn't for Green Day, Newfound Glory wouldn't be here.
Exactly. They were definitely fans of Green Day, so
Very much so. I mean, a lot of bands owe it to Green Day. They do. Newfound Glory does, and then what's the line? You actually can trace the line from bands who brought other bands on. Oh, it was Green Day to Newfound Glory to the band from Chicago whose names escape me right now.
Fall Out Boy.
Fall Out Boy, who also picked up on Panic at the Disco. Like, there's a line right there. They all helped each other out. So,
actually, Newfound Glory is actually opening for Fall Out Boy this summer on their West Coast leg of.
Oh, how times have changed.
Yeah,
it used to be the other way around.
Used to be.
I heard a story once that Kiss. Yep, because they're an emo band. Kiss opened up for Blue Oyster Cult one year. The following summer, Blue Oyster Cult opened up for Kiss because Kiss broke. Yeah, so wacky music knowledge there is, huh?
Long Island's own Blue Oyster Cult. Also, on this sidetrack we're on, did you guys know that the first Kiss concert was on Long Island?
I knew that recently because I watched the Twisted Sister documentary.
That's amazing.
I've been to Dee's house. I used to work with his son at the comic book store.
Wow.
I used to work with his son. Yeah. I remember once he called the store. He was like, it was Jesse. He was like, "Hi, this is Jesse's dad. Is he there?" I was like, "Yeah, hold on." I was like, "It's Dee Snider." And I had to drop Jesse off once, and I got allowed to go inside. It was the nicest people ever. His parent, Dee Snider, was the nicest guy.
Yeah, him and his wife seem like actually decent people.
They're super nice. I was so amazed. They were so nice. Yeah.
And a Baldwin High School graduate.
What I like about this one is I did a little bit digging into it, and I was like, okay, actually I can see that as an idea. It's looking back. You look at the title, it's hit or miss. Looking back at a relationship that has ended and wondering if that was the right decision. It's hit or miss, right? If it was the right decision, you don't know. So you got to do that. You do that as making a decision whether or not you're going to end it. Because it's like he talks about the cool, like the good things and the bad things that have happened, like the thriller part we joked about, or you wrote their names up on the wall. But it's also debating if this was, did he make a right choice? Yeah. Ultimately, I think that's what this song is about.
I agree.
Yeah,
I think he's worried that maybe he should have done it sooner, or sometimes the "to see you" part is like, or did he miss the boat? But in general, I pretty much think you're on the right track.
A great line of blatant mistakes of your design. That's such a great line and an image. It was just, just such a great line. But yeah, this is so simple to you. It's so simple to lie. So you're dealing with someone who's not really being very forthcoming with you the entire time. And I think that's ultimately what it is. Looking back, like, was this a right choice? Leaving them versus staying with them. What do you think, Jeff?
Yeah, I think that you guys are hitting exactly on the head. And I think that's why it's such a great pop song, because it's, breakups are never easy. And we're second guessing ourselves and big life decisions, I'm sure, happens to everybody in different ways. And this song really captures that. It's also interesting because the next song, again, is another advice song.
It is another advice song.
Second to last advice, and kind of like, maybe a little bit like as a sequencing, it follows up hit or miss with kind of like a definitive decision that like maybe someone did do the right thing.
I was going to say the same thing. I actually think this song, second to last and hit or miss, they work with each other. I think they're actually the continuation of the story, or part of the same story. 100%. I also find it's funny that it's second to last, but it's not the second to last song. Talk about sequencing. Should it have been?
Second to last song on the side, I suppose.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Good point. All right, good point. I'll take that. Sure thing. There we go. Like with this one, yeah, it's I made a note. We should call it the penultimate song. But
You
let's
just like saying penultimate as much as you can.
as much as I can. Just like epistolary. I was right about that, though. By the way, I did look it up. I had to look it up just to make sure I was right. I was right.
Bram Stoker is proud of you.
That makes me happy to hear that. So why I think this works as a 1-2, because the last song he's thinking about whether or not it was a good choice to break up with them, whoever they were. And on here, it's about the breakup song, and he's figured out what the other person is. So like this is the event that led to the debate in the previous song. What do you think?
I don't have the lyrics in front of me, so like now I'm drawing a blank. But what I wrote down was that this song reminded me of like new starts and new beginnings. So it does kind of fall in line with that.
Well, yeah, it's. I think that's the whole thing. I mean, like there's a line like today is the first day of your life, the first day that you're on your own. Now you know what to call home. Like that to me is. That's the positive message. This isn't a sad song. This is, as you said, like new beginnings, and it's like, it's time to seize the day kind of thing.
Yeah.
Hang on, there's something I wanted to, because today is the first day of your life, the first day you're on your own. Like this is, new beginnings. I can see that very quickly with this. Yeah. But I think it's him or them talking to themselves. Like now, this is your first day of your new life where you don't have this other person anymore. And that's a good thing.
It is.
Yeah, this is probably another one of those songs where I took the relationship piece out of it and just focused on, the kind of like new beginnings lyrics. And, you get to apply it more frequently in your life sometimes when you get lyrics like that.
But I think go ahead, Jeff.
Oh no, I was gonna say I think it's I love that tactic on these songs. Like you have to think that if these were like songs about someone's life, I'm like, this person breaks up way too much. Like this person needs to take a break from dating because it's not working.
I'm starting to wonder if the narrator in the songs is the problem.
Yeah, I think so. You might say that the narrator is an eyesore when it comes to love. I don't know if that makes sense, but I got eyesore in there.
You did. Very good. I like that. No. Well, but is this a bro song?
A bro song? This is
song.
This is the slow it down.
Yeah.
This is the ballad.
It is about. Well, the reason why I say it's a bro song is because it's like the boys will always be here.
Oh.
Right? You know what I mean? That's why I was wondering. I actually was wondering if this was like the starting point and they did a better version of the song on the next album. I think it's the next album where it's My Friends Over You.
Yeah.
Choose my friend. So I think that's the better song than this one.
You know what? I was having trouble trying to rectify what the boys will stay line even meant. That's a real good point there.
I'll always have the boys. I'll never, you know what? So it's funny that it's a ballad.
Yeah.
It's a ballad to the boys. That's what this song's about.
Oh, man.
I actually have struggled with this songs. I always liked it because it is the slower one at the time. It was always fun to hear them like slow it down a bit because they don't normally do that in their shows.
Yeah.
But I never understood what this song was about. And I love that that really opens it up.
I think that's all this song is about. I think this song's really, it's a love letter, epistolary. Running joke in this one. To his friends. The fact that they will always be like, girl, play on, but I'll have the boys even when you're gone.
Yeah. Wow. When I say your name, when I fall, when I hit the bottom, the boys will be there.
The boys will be there. I also wonder if he takes that as once because it's connected. When I fall, when I hit bottom, I say your name. Like when I get to that's how that's when I'll be on your level. When I hit bottom.
Wow.
I was
the boys are down there.
Boys are down, but the boys will pick you back up. That's what they're going to do. That's their job. Yeah, I mean, that's you can always count on the boys. My friends over you. That was literally what I was thinking about. Is that this was the template for another song later on.
Right. That they were gonna do it in a much bigger, broader, bombastic pop punk way and make another hit. But
Well,
right
I
now,
think, yeah, they realized the ballad's not our scene. Like it's the one where I'm always like, oh, yeah, it's this one. Where it's like
Yeah.
it's the opening. It's so slow. Jordan, he's trying, but it's not. He upbeat. The Newfound Glory should stay in upbeat songs.
Yeah.
So this is actually a song that I love because I do kind of I'm going to assume this song is in a minor chord. I'm not musical, but I get that vibe from it anyway. And I really do tend to gravitate towards that. But I have to say, I never really considered the lyrics of the song. I just kind of sung along. And it is very much an outlier for them, right? Like, yeah, everything you said is pretty on the money. I haven't thought about this song that deeply, but I do like it. It is one I would choose to listen to. And I would keep it on the first half of the album.
Oh, there you
Cool.
go. So we're
Very
keep the A side is better than the B side. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Do you have
that's
any- no other thoughts on Eyesore?
No, because we're now getting to the point where I said earlier, this is where I start to lose the album as we're getting into the. I think Vegas, getting to Vegas is now like. I even remember when they would play this one live, I'd be like, okay, like
It's okay. All right. But what's funny though is that this is another song where the title matters.
Yeah.
Because hit or miss, it's really the point of the thought was that, did I look back on this at a hit or miss on this relationship with Vegas? Because they don't mention Vegas, they don't really talk about the Vegas Strip or gambling or anything that would be kind of associated with it. So you have to take it on as an allegory level that a relationship is a gamble.
Yep.
I think that's really basically the whole point of this song.
Yep.
Okay.
Right.
You have to keep your eyes open. You'll never, and it's just, to me, that's the point of this song is that entry, because he is like, how hard is it? It doesn't take much to keep holding someone's hand. So what I take that as is relationships should be easy. They shouldn't be difficult, right? But you don't know that going in. It's a gamble, hence the name Vegas. That's what I'm going with.
No, I think it is. It's a gamble. It's not painting relationships in a great picture.
Nope.
There is like,
it is a very pessimistic view, right?
Yeah. I mean, I always thought like you have to keep your eyes open as wide as you can. You never know what will come along. Like, to me, that is like the dating app culture where it's like there's always another person to swipe to. It's like,
right.
Yeah. So it's like you can't. Yeah, the gamble is, well, if you're in a relationship and you can't, maybe you're going to miss out on meeting someone who's better for you, which is not a very healthy way to be in relationships. Always looking for something else, but that is Vegas.
Yeah, and then I was just gonna say, like I said, I met my wife at 17. We started dating when we were 18. This song meant nothing to me. Exactly the opposite.
Yeah.
It's a pretty. The more I go through this, the more I'm like, yeah, the narrator's the problem.
Oh yeah, narrators not doing well.
No. Although it does make it really. There is a great line here, though. It's amazing how people can be held down by just one person that doesn't even care what they think. That's the very
right?
That's a very literal wording of a lot of Alkaline Trio songs.
Yeah.
But that's my favorite part of that. Otherwise, Vegas. Jeff, we haven't hit the song yet that you don't like anymore.
Yeah, we haven't yet. Well, I was going to say, this narrator definitely thinks being in a relationship makes you a sucker. So
Sure does.
So how wonderful that the next track is called "Sucker."
Another kind of on the nose song, isn't it? Right. Again, the title is meaningful, which they should be. That's a good thing. But is a sucker? Who is the sucker in this song? Is it the narrator or is it the other person who's a sucker for cheating away?
I thought it was the other person because of a line. I bet you thought this song was about you. Like you're a sucker to think that like these songs are about you.
Yeah, I can. Okay, because see the reason why. Yeah.
So I had this song written down as verging on problematic for the
Uh-huh.
chorus. Like,
Yeah.
I remember that these guys were 19 and 20 when they were writing this, but like, that sounds like it's dealing with a real young person. I don't
Yep.
know.
Yep.
Makes it a little uncomfortable. Like it just seems like one person is very experienced and quizzing this other less experienced person. And it just I the thing is, I've definitely sung along to this song. It is catchy. It is fun.
Yeah.
It's one where I haven't thought about the lyrics in a million years. And then going through it, I'm kind of like, oh, is this okay?
Yeah. It is. Well, again, it's another mean-spirited one for sure, too. Like,
Yeah.
there is, and when you say it like that, it really sticks out to me. Like, there's this arrogance from the narrator,
Yeah.
and it's like, thinking about them being like 19-year-old point of view. Yeah, it's a little. Yeah, it's not great. It's not great. Not great, Bob.
And the being wrong never felt so right. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's something there. Also, I just happened to come across it. They basically stole the bridge from a Less Than Jake song.
Oh, really?
Which song?
Yeah, they toured together, so they probably heard it. I don't know if it's a big Less Than Jake song, but I was just listening to Hello Rockview just for the hell of it. And Theme from H Street has the same bridge. It's like,
Oh boy.
can we figure out? But it's not lyrically the same, but the sound of it is
The melody is there. Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, I can tell you this: we're not going to listen to Sucker.
Let's take a pass on that one.
Let's take a
All right.
pass on this one.
Well, sucker.
Move around, Sucker. Let's talk about Bruises. Little Black and Blue again. Title means something. Black and Blue, right? Bruises. Gonna go with. I'm gonna assume. Am I wrong? What do you think?
Yeah.
Huh.
What
Yeah,
I'm just blowing Dave's mind today. This is
yeah. I haven't, in going through the lyrics, I haven't considered the title once. So it's a really great point. Yeah.
because it's what I find what I have found. I think this song. I think it's actually the title is actually not doing it justice because the point of the song is about the scars we get. So I always felt Scars would be a better title for this song, but I guess Black and Blue is it's got a good vibe to it.
Yeah. Well, the relationship is beating them up, like ruining his life,
Yes,
her
yeah,
life,
right.
or her life, and and that's what this is. It's not like, I don't think it's actually physical violence, but it is emotional violence to them.
And well, again, the narrator's the problem. Once again, yeah. But it's the bruises that you get from being in a relationship. I mean, there's even one. It's because he says it like I can never be the same without you ruining my life. But I can never be the same. So obviously, there's long-term implications of what this relationship just did to them. Hence, scars. Better serve with scars.
And then this is another song where it does almost get that Taking Back Sunday template in there a little bit, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, this album really was like just opening the door for this kind of music. It's just crazy how much you can take from this.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. This is another. I think you said it right. Like Black and Blue is going to be taken and turned into a Taking Back Sunday song that's going to take it to this other level.
Yeah.
Where here it always felt kind of like a filler. It's kind of doing a lot of the same, thematically the same things. I actually don't even remember them playing this one much back in the day.
I can't recall seeing this somewhere.
No.
Oh, going back to Sucker, I did want to check if they still play it, and they as of last year they were still playing it live. So maybe my interpretation's not 100% correct, but
I think it's very good at this, especially having grown up with this stuff, to now look back on all this music, because let's face it, there is a lot of problematic stuff in this music scene, and the lyrics. And as we get into the next song, Boy Crazy, I can point to some stuff. We're like, oh, this isn't great messaging. And, being able to have hindsight and thankfully, like for most part, I think most people just took them as songs, but then you start kind of like digging into it and you're like, the point of view here isn't great. And it's just seeping bad messaging into the listener's head at the time. So now it's okay to like be like have your spidey sense on, your cackles up, like be on the. Is this cool? Is this cool to listen to? Like, is this a metaphor or is this not a metaphor? Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh.
But these songs exist, and that's why we have
do.
Boy Crazy.
That's why.
Yeah.
Some girls are crazy, man. Some girls are crazy. It is funny though to look back on this from an older perspective. And times have very much changed since 2000. It just and definitely not. I don't want to do like Jeff. You made a joke about being revisionist. Like I definitely don't want to do. Like I want to look back at this with some sincerity, right? And then look, and you're right. There's some things problematic. Something's problematic. That's true. But Boy Crazy. Boy, oh boy, this song.
So I think I wrote for this one, never really did anything for me, just okay. I do think it's kind of a continuation of the idea of stupid games are for stupid people from the previous album.
Yeah.
But that's like the best I can really say about it, like there's problematic lyrics in it. I don't know.
The only thing I like, Jeff, you're about to say something. Go ahead.
No, I just coughed.
Oh, okay. One thing I do like about it is, and maybe it's problematic though. I don't know. One thing I do like is that he's like, you'll understand, or you'll know what it feels like to have your heart broken one day too. And that I think is like, we've all felt that. You got your heart broken. You're like, you wait until one day your heart gets broken, then you'll know exactly how this feels like.
No, I think it works. And I think this is the song which I used to love back in the day.
Yeah.
I think it's musically, it's one of their I think they're all fast, up-paced driven songs, but this one has this is a fun one to hear live. It's just very
bouncy.
Bouncy, yeah. And I think that's why I really liked it. But I also always loved the little sketch at the beginning, little skit of it's just of guys like, hey ladies, and like, oh my god, band guys are so lame.
Yeah.
Like, so can I call you? Like him getting rejected, which is like, I thought that was kind of fun because that's really setting the stage of where the headspace of the song is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like when you watch John Wick. What's the only thing that can give me the reason to root for this man to kill as many people as possible? Oh, they killed his dog. Yes, I understand why he's shooting all these people.
Yep.
So you're giving this is your John Wick moment, like, oh, he's been rejected, so he's like bitter, and that's where this is coming from. I think though, for me, the issue, that's fine if he's mad at this one, if he's disappointed at this person rejected them, but the problem that I have with the song is it's the chorus. Like, this song goes out to girls that we haven't met just yet. This song's for stupid girls who think that every boy is all about them. It's like, whoa, you are like, this is like incel kind of. Yeah. Fisher Price's baby's first incel song. Like, it's like, whoa.
That's 100%. Like, it's basically you're laying, but the reason why they don't like you is they're crazy. Obviously, they're crazy not to like you. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel good to listen.
No, it feels a little reminiscent of the scene back then.
Yeah.
It does. It really does. Right or wrong, that's definitely where I feel like this one goes.
Well, I mean, there is an authentic emotion, especially when you're young and you're first dating and stuff, and you're getting rejected for the first time, and it hurts, right?
Right.
And that you can respond with art if you want, but it's just something about casting a wide net on all girls.
Yeah.
It's just dude, you want to tell this person, first of all, who cares? This girl doesn't like you. She doesn't like band guys. She's making a judgment about you. Why are you interested in someone who's not getting to know you anyway? And also, why don't you look around and find the girls who do like bands guys or like the music you like? Because there's plenty of them, but you're not looking at. I feel like this is very much someone going after somebody who's not in their scene.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, because usually someone would be there to see that band, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
Exactly.
And we've already pointed out that narrator's a problem.
Narrator's the biggest problem, I think, here in this song. This is now the next. Yeah, this is just oh, I'm sorry, some girl rejected you, and now you're gonna write this sugar-coated, happy, bouncy pop song about how every girl's crazy, and they better listen up, because yeah, bad. I don't like boy crazy guys.
That's
Yeah.
okay. We
I'm
don't
gonna
have
skip
to.
that one.
You don't have to. It's okay. No one says you have to. It's funny. We haven't played this song in a bit. But I'm like, I don't. These aren't. We'll go with the last one then. Let's go to All About
I
Her.
will no. I
What?
think we'll save them. I will say, I talked about earlier. I think the album starts off really strong.
Yeah.
I think after Hit or Miss, it starts to miss for a while.
Mm.
I do love All About Her though.
Yeah,
I think
we're in the
that's
comeback stage now. We're in the comeback.
yeah, and
Yeah,
I think the last two tracks really kind of like, oh, I remember I love these songs. So
Yeah.
I'm really excited to talk about and listen to All About Her. So should we just listen to All About Her and start it off?
Let's start it off with that
All
one.
right.
Go ahead.
All right. Here is All About Her, the penultimate song on the self-titled New Found Glory album. All right, here it goes. There it is. All About Her. What do you guys think?
Well, it's all about her.
The only line in this song that I don't really get is that there's that line, another chance to fight, another way to make it right. And it doesn't seem to fit the rest of the song. So like when I wrote notes about this song, I wrote that it seems like it's about a girl with a boyfriend that's less mature. And it's just certainly something I can relate to. The song has a great feel to it. And I feel like that lyric just doesn't make sense. It doesn't seem like people who are fighting. Like the narrator seems really in love in this song.
Yeah.
But to make it right, so that's actually his question. I was wondering, is this a song about, is he in love? Is he like, is this a song he's getting ready to gearing up to break up? Because he's talking about, but he wants to talk about another chance to fight and make it right. Okay, so I think obviously then the relationship's something weird because you have to fight for a relationship, which seems to be a theme throughout the rest of the songs, having to fight for a relationship. But he's optimistic at the idea of making it right. So I think basically it's him being more mature and more of a grown-up and meet the expectations of his significant other. What do you think?
Well,
yeah, I think he's trying to.
He's trying, right?
Well, I think the lack of character is like such an interesting line to someone trying to deal with. Like, yeah, I like this interpretation of like the maturity thing like that. This is like, and that makes me understand the fight. Like, it's the narrator taking a look in the mirror and being like, well, if I'm really all about her, I got to step up and be the better person, the person she deserves.
Yeah.
It's like Danny Zuko in Grease, right? He became exactly what Sandy wanted. Again, I bring up Grease. I don't think we've missed an episode yet, Jeff, where I have not brought up a musical.
Got to shape up.
Yeah.
Does that hurt or harm my cred?
I think it helps. I mean, there's nothing more emo than musical theater. So
this is very true. No, and I think you're right, because he said it's all about her. So he's trying to be, but you change for someone if it's really what it comes down to. You're going to change yourself to be better, to meet the expectations of someone that you might really but and hopefully those changes are like good ones. Like you're not going to get worse to meet someone else's expectations. You go the other way. You try to be more positive.
Yeah. I think that's how I take it, because we've heard songs on this album where they talk about like, oh, you're losing yourself in this relationship and you're not forgetting who you are. But this is the positive growth version of that, where like you want a relationship to change you and make you a better overall person, right? You want to self-actualize, if that's the goal of some people. And to get there and to become the best version of yourself, a relationship can do that for you, because you have someone you're willing to fight to make yourself better for. And that's not changing yourself or getting rid of it's just making better choices, life choices.
Yeah,
it's a reason to give a shit.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that sums it up nicely.
Whenever you need profanity, just let me know.
Yeah.
I'm fucking right here.
Thank you for giving us a reason to give a shit about all about her.
Yeah, give a shit. Just care about something bigger than yourself. That's really that's the more polite way of doing it. I mean, that's the reason why we get it. Well, let's go one step further. Why are we still in this scene? Why are we still talking about this album 20 years later? Because it's something bigger than us that we care about.
Yeah.
It's community, not competition. I've said it before. I'm gonna say it again. This is why this music scene is meaningful to me, and why I want to do this show, and why I like talking about these things. Yeah, we've talked about this album. It can be problematic in one lens, but I love talking about it.
Yeah.
I love talking about music that I care about because it makes me want to be better. If I know I'm in a community where everybody's trying to do their, about positivity, about coming together, about what true community is, then it makes me want to do better.
And be part of the change, if I'm being honest.
Be part of the change, right? Yeah. All right, Phil's gonna get off the soapbox now. I'm off the soapbox.
Well, I do. I mean, I love that speech, Phil, and I want to toast the night away to you.
I appreciate that. Thanks so much. Well, I truly am a lost romantic, aren't I?
What you need is a ballad for yourself because you are a lost romantic.
I am. Every time I always think it makes me think of what is it with this band making me think of other bands? Because whenever I hear this song, I think I go automatically to the Bouncing Souls.
Yeah,
it's just where I end up.
This is a very Bouncing Souls kind of vibe.
It very much is. Yes, very much is. And it's kind of tongue in cheek a little bit. That we're fools for being in romantics. That's kind of where that's going, right? What is it? He even says something to that extent. What are your thoughts on this one, Jeff?
I love this song. I always have. I definitely had an away message that said, "Here's to us fools that have no meaning." I'm sure many times. No, I love it. This, going back to the Bouncing Souls of it all, it's like this, it's a great way to close out the record because it's very much that punk song of just cheersing good times and awesomeness, and I love it's a point of view of being in a band. I finally have an audience to ignore me. I can yell all I want and you still can't hear me. Whoa, what does that mean? In the end, it's all about our friends, right?
Right.
It's all about forget about tomorrow, live in the now. This very positive, all the stuff that sucks doesn't matter because we're here right now at the show, singing along. Sing along forever, as Bouncing Souls would say.
As this song is as good of a closer as Better Off Dead is as an opener. It is just the perfect ending. I think this becomes the hallmark of the great emo punk albums of our generation, is having that great closing song where you're just with your buddies, you're holding a beer or something, you're like, we did the job, we are celebrating, we are we can relax now. We're together and this is fantastic. And I want to go into this chorus and I want to feel that way all the time.
Yeah, no, and it builds that, and that's most of the song. It's just a repetition of that chorus.
Yeah.
And that's the sing along. That's the part where that's the community. This is what
community.
This is all about. Yeah.
Right. The song is about community.
Yeah.
It just depends, and it's okay to be foolish. Mm-hmm. To maybe want something better or worried about just tonight, not tomorrow. But I also think that's kind of tongue in cheek. Why is that foolish to think like that?
Yeah.
It shouldn't be. It's not foolish.
Not at all.
Yeah, definitely tongue in cheek with that for sure.
Well, and that's a staple of this. Well, the smart assiness that is the punk rock scene in general shines a bunch in this album, and particularly in this song.
It's another song. I think Dave, you kind of touched on a little bit about we want to be here with the beer. I have found, there was a point in time when we were all going to shows at the same time, and it was there was a couple of years of that. But my entire next decades of life, when I go to shows, I always think about this song and Toasting the Night Away to Friends, even though I'm at a show with people who weren't in my life then, or I'm at a show by myself. I always feel like you guys are there. I really do. I always think I'm even though they're not, and I'm like experiencing like Alkaline Trio for the 400th time, whatever it is. I'm like, oh, but
Yeah.
you guys are here too. Like I always feel like I
Yeah.
bring that, and I feel like the spirit of that is captured in this song.
Yeah, you definitely take a piece of that with you for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's a great
That's
way
crazy
to
to think about, right? 3-year span where we went to see 100 shows.
It's absurd how many shows, particularly with this band, how many times I saw this band specifically in a 3-year span. It was amazing.
Well, they were very smart about how they brought so many different bands on their tours. I mean, like at a certain point, I don't even think we were going to see Newfound Glory. We were going to see like 4 other bands who were playing with Newfound Glory, and
Right.
like it's like, oh, cool, I get to see Newfound Glory again. Like it was just a very like that was what they did. They were like the shepherd, I guess.
Yeah.
They brought everybody with them, and it's true, like you said, that there was always just thinking back now, that Midtown, Movie Life, Newfound Glory. Who was the other one?
Dashboard.
Dashboard. My gosh,
Like when he just started doing Dashboard. Like
Yeah,
what an astonishing show that is.
that had to
Yeah.
be Dashboard's like first time on the road, like that's
as
how
Dashboard, yeah.
I can't even imagine that show now.
Well, I mean, they are happening, which is crazy. Like these shows are happening now, but they're like giant amphitheaters of
Yeah.
like bands, and
Yeah.
we got to see it in like a windowless trailer with no stage.
right.
Yeah. Like that show up in outside of Troy, New York, Jeff. It was like this weird strip mall kind of place, and like this weird divey bar that had no ventilation.
I think it's Clifton Park. Clifton Park
Oh
is.
my God, that's right. It
Yeah.
was. Yeah. Oh man, we drove home that
right
night.
after the show.
because our buddy was like, well, here's the bed. It was the floor, and we were like, all set. I'll drive home. And then we did.
We did.
Do you want to hear Ballad for Lost Romantics?
I absolutely do want to hear Ballad for Lost
I feel like I need
Romantics.
to.
Yeah. All right, let's listen to it. So we got to the whole album. Phil, do you have any questions you want to ask us about the album as a whole?
I do. That was not set up whatsoever. Jeff and Dave, what do you feel is the best song on the album?
For me, it's got to be Ballad. Like that is the one where I just feel it the most. I'd probably that or Better Off Dead. I'm a total, like, I just love a good opening track, one that like really brings you into the album and you get the feel of what's coming right away. One of those two. I don't know if I can pick.
Okay, we'll call it a tie. Jeff, what about you?
I want to say Ballad for the Lost Romantics, but I'm gonna be the A&R guy here at the record studio, and I hit or miss. I mean, it's a classic. It's just, I mean, that song propelled them for a whole career, and
it's the best song. I would say hit or miss. It's the best song on the album. It really is. It sums them. If you had to play one song to summarize the band, that's the song.
Very fair. Yeah.
It hits everything that they do. So let's go the other side of the fence. What do we feel is the worst, least best, however you want to phrase it? What's the worst song?
Oh, I'm still gonna go with Sucker. Just once I've got it in my head that it makes me uncomfortable, I can't get it out.
That's fair. That's a fair thing to say. Jeff, what about you?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat with Boy Crazy. Get that out of there.
Yeah. I'm going to agree with you, Jeff. I think we're gonna the next one we're gonna differ on, but yes, I think Boy Crazy is the least best, worst. Not get rid of it.
Eternal Sunshine, The Spotless Mind, me add that song out of my head. How about that?
Yeah, just off it goes. Now, what I always think is the more interesting question, that's why I like it last. What do you think is the sleeper song? What's the song they just snooze on?
All right. Knowing that now, I'd probably say Better Off Dead, the favorite, Ballad is the sleeper, just because it is at the end of the album. If not, then All About Her.
Okay. I like that. Jeff, what about you?
The sleeper, I agree. It's probably like just because I love All About Her and Ballad for Lost Romantics, I probably love them more. But as a sleeper, I think Sincerely Me, because I just think it's it's a jam. It's like,
Yeah.
it's not a popular song by them, but like it rocks. And like sometimes that's important.
Mm.
It's that bass line in the beginning. And yeah.
The bass line beginning is great. It's great because they would start it and everybody would be like, start cheering because it's a riff of a bass line, right? It
Yeah.
is.
And like they'll say like, Ian, you want to start us off in this one? And he would just
Like,
like,
boom, 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 boom.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I actually think Vegas is a very good sleeper song. I think it opens the second half of the album. I like the allegory of it. I actually think that's kind of a clever way of writing. So
Sure.
I'll go with Vegas. Maybe it's because I just also recently had gone to Vegas. So I got Vegas on the mind. Maybe that's also what it is.
Very good.
Well, Phil, we didn't play it earlier, but since you love Vegas so much, should we just play Vegas? Close it out?
We can close it out with Vegas. So folks at home, here's a little gambling song. Let's go about Vegas.
And that is Vegas. I don't know, Phil, you gonna go to When We Were Young Fest in Vegas this year?
If I could afford it, sure.
Newfound Glory. I think Newfound Glory is playing that.
Who's not playing that? Yeah, it's like every band ever.
Yeah, Blink, Green Day are the headliners. Something Corporate's reuniting for it. Yeah,
I love Something Corporate, man.
Yeah,
That's such a great album. Oh man.
So Dave, where can people follow you in the social media world?
Oh, I'm pretty much everywhere as Developer 80, DAVELOPER 80. I don't post a whole lot, but I'll definitely talk about music to anyone who wants to listen.
Excellent.
So you got that, folks at home, Developer 80. Whenever we post this, I'll make sure to tag Dave in it so he can actually see it himself.
Now the big reveal. Dave and I are actually cousins.
Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah.
No one saw that coming.
No. And now we're gonna play Vampire Weekend's Cousins. No, we're not. We could though. I love that song.
Oh, that's funny.
It's a great Vampire Weekend song.
Oh, that was the wrong song.
Yeah.
Phil, is anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, I do. I actually want to thank our producer, my lovely wife, Megan, who always helps me out with all these silly questions I ask her about how to do anything on a computer.
All right.
That's the short version of it. But folks at home, remember to follow us on Instagram as well as on YouTube. And I think that's what we have right now. That's it.
Yep. I think that works. And look at that. Flo's coming over with the check so we can get out of here.
Yeah,
Perfect.
you're paying this time, not me.
All right. I'll get your toast just this once.